Oh. Maybe we got it by accident.
No, I think you did it. It's just that it's starting. So what it'll start to do, it'll start to scream what we're doing and what we're saying.
Mm-hmm. That's the idea, yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Looks like there's a delay. Now the question is, how do we turn that camera around?
So we need to figure out how to get the camera to turn flip. There's a bit of a delay. Mm-hmm. Like a good.
It always is, isn't it?
Well, almost
Not always,
10
no.
seconds though, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. The settings maybe, I don't know what to say. Is there a link that people ask you? I have to give it to me so I can message to everyone.
Okay. How do you want me to get you the link? It's in Bitly. It's a Bitly link.
Yeah, so how does it work? You copy?
This
No,
is
no,
it
no.
here.
Okay.
This is your
So if
Bitly
you
link.
send it to you. Yeah, but isn't it the same thing?
What?
You just copy it and then where do you want it? Do you want it sent to your
Well, we're tweeting it, so I'm trying to figure out how do I. Do you want me to email it to you? How do you want me to
Yeah,
get you
email
this?
me that and
Okay.
tweet it as well.
Okay.
And then I can email it to everybody in the meetup group.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on. Why don't you just copy?
We have to figure out how to get the camera turned around next.
Let's do that in the meantime. Okay. All right, and so let's.
Are we live in the sound right now as well?
I don't know. I can't.
I believe we are.
So I muted it.
But I believe we may still be live. Even though we're muted, we may be live with sound as well.
Let me make sure that link works. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, I emailed it to you.
Do you have a camera here?
Mm-hmm.
And which one? Yeah,
I'm trying to turn it.
how?
I don't know. I'm trying to
Do
figure
you
it
have a
out.
camera here or how do you turn it? Turn what?
Do you have the camera pointed? He's asking if you have the camera.
No.
Okay, so then you have to turn the whole computer.
How would it film? Like?
Well, that's why I'm trying to figure out if we can use the reverse cameras that the Mac.
No, not if it's not through here.
Well, where is the camera?
There is none, so you have to.
Oh,
choose
it's just
through here.
this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just have to turn it. Oh, so we just do this. That's
Did you email me?
Yes.
Okay, so if we want to get the camera pointed and orientation of the camera correct, what we need to do is set it up, have you standing there so that we can see. Now, are you going to be using this for presentation as well?
Nope.
What are you using for presentation? Perfect. Okay, so let's set up.
So I'll leave that with you now.
Yes, but we still have to make sure that our camera is in frame of where you're going to be standing. So I'm going to need something to put this on.
Okay.
That's going to be high enough, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Are you gonna need this computer to present or
Yeah, I have to present off yours. That's why I
is
asked
the
you this
video
morning.
working? Because your presentation is like 70 megabytes. And is it the video is the presentation?
Videos are embedded.
Do you wanna
They're
check?
like 10 seconds each, basically.
Okay, so
I
I'm
can
going
do
to.
embed them if I have to. Okay, so. Okay, that'll work. So
Sophia, can you do me an enormous favor of bringing this down, well, because I'm holding the computer so my hands are not free.
Yeah.
Can I just want to see what's in frame, so can you lower this display of the feed?
Yeah.
I'm talking about actually lowering the screen while I was
Okay, I'll
holding it.
try.
Sorry.
You need to set it up here somewhere.
I want to just be able to see I want to be able to watch that as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. Oh, here we
That's
go.
perfect.
There you go.
Okay, great. So then what I'll do is, while you're standing there,
Yep.
have to wait now.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe we can get a stool from Lauren and put it on the stool.
Yep, let me just get a sense about where we are.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, what do you think of something like that?
Will they be able to see the screen?
Okay, so we need to get the computer or this. So it's going to have to be a little further back.
Yep.
You see what I'm trying to do, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we need to be able
That's
to.
gonna work, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's going to work. I'm just standing in one place without moving so I can get a sense
Yep.
about where I need to be, and probably a little bit higher. All right, so we do need to have something to put this on. So I wonder what that's going to look like.
You want to put it in one of those chairs?
It has to be fairly high.
That's what I'm wondering if maybe Lauren has a
Like a
stool.
little step ladder would be, or like a ladder or something would be actually perfect. Or something. Because this is ideally exactly how I'd like it to do. See what I mean, Dan? Look. So that we can get everything in. What do you think? Okay, we'll set it up here. Ingenious. A little bit worried about this. Anybody got duct tape? Duct tape. That solves many. Duct tape is always a good thing. You have a what? Oh, okay, great. Can you grab it?
That would be awesome.
Right?
Making sure I can hear it because I've muted it right now.
Yeah, what we'll do is as soon as I have this part set up, I'll take your earbud and I'll start to listen and we'll unmute it.
Okay.
Okay, because we
Oh,
can,
and,
it possibly,
what's his face? Dave is on Skype if you want to.
oh, this is great.
Oh my God, that is
You are
amazing.
awesome.
Thank you
What
so
can
much.
I say?
I was talking about duct tape and you brought out
You
the
are so
heavy
awesome. Oh
artillery.
my God, that is so awesome.
This is like perfect.
That's so
It's
perfect.
you totally did.
Chair's over.
There. Okay. So I'm just gonna take a moment to. Okay, so the sound is live right now?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it's like a bit of a delay, but yeah.
Okay, so they can hear us. That's great.
Okay, do you want to open Skype so that if you have questions for Dave,
Can I still work on, I'm sorry, I just need to make sure that we're in frame still and
yep, there
I
you go.
can't see.
Go.
See, I can't see you. Can you see that? Sophia, come down here for 1 sec. I just want to show you. Sophia, can I see, are you happy with this frame? I'm asking you if you're happy with this frame.
Yes.
This is what you're going to see. Is that okay?
Mhm.
So I'll just, can you see the TV? Do you think that everybody can see the TV?
You want to test to see how this works?
Yeah, can we? It's working. Ah!
And is it just Bluetooth?
It's just on YouTube, yeah.
Let's just not touch this for a minute. Just want to see and make sure that that we've got the right frame because everybody's starting to come in now and say hello to everybody.
I'm so happy it works.
Okay, so I'm thinking that this frame is good. Now, do you feel that everybody at home everyone's gonna be able to see the presentation?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, Dan and I will test it and
Okay.
make sure.
I'll have Dan take a look and see what he thinks.
Okay,
I'm, I'm just trying to make sure that you have the best view of the TV. The only other thing that I could possibly do is we'd have to move a row of chairs in the middle here and set up where the garbage bag is. Set this up in the back, directly in the back. But then you're shooting over people's heads, so that might.
And I'm concerned about
Yeah.
audio as well.
Okay.
So,
So
I
maybe
think
this
the
is
best
probably.
place.
This seems to be okay.
Yeah.
I think this is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are live here for sound. So Skype, now we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's already set up. This is Dave.
We'll be coming in a bit later, and nobody comes exactly at 6 as you know.
Yeah, that's okay. So Dave is going to be available here. He will give you a technical in case, like if something goes wrong with the feed, he'll let you know.
Okay.
So just kind of keep an eye
I'm just
out.
like, I don't want to be in front of the screen here because right now we're blocking the feed by standing in front of the screen.
Yes. Now we're not.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's going to be hard to do it on Skype here. That's what I'm saying. So perhaps maybe we better if I hook up with Skype on Skype.
Yeah. Or can you get Slack? So choose right. Do you have an iPhone 5 charger? You could even try the chat. I don't think it's here. So just chat in the chat. Let me see, what's this?
Okay, I think we should be good.
I think so. Here we go. Let's go back to chat. Well, you know what? Why don't you do this? are ready.
So let's see. I don't know. Is there an AV cable as well?
Okay.
I love this background. It's great. Great background. Hey, you guys, take pictures of both you. Oh.
Go ahead, fall on the stage.
That's nice. Good.
Oh, let's see. Nice. Oh, good job. Good perspective there.
So.
Ready to get more? Look, I folded up my glasses. Goodness. We got 7 seconds. Ooh. So we are, he's also tweeting. He's going to start a Twitter chat.
Just remind you that that's the volume.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Okay, beautiful. Awesome. Cool. Well, it took magic touch.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank
See
you
you
for the
later.
magic.
Thank you so much.
The magic.
Cool. See ya.
Oh, the magic. I was gonna say, I was like, how am I being?
No, this is the magic here.
Ah, very cool.
So I reminded her that we are live on board as well.
Yeah, the little, it's like a dessert.
Crazy house. That's right. That's right. I love this back house.
It's awesome, man. It's all stickers. All I know. Super, super.
This is really great space.
Really love it. So we do content marketing software. So think of it like maybe you're using Pinterest. So that's one, like the easiest way that I found to explain it is a marketer can basically create a hub. So that's what lets keep all their whether it's blog posts, videos, Instagram, they can keep all of their content right in that hub, and it sits kind of like little Pinterest tiles. So that way you're not sending a potential customer to another website, you're not sending them to YouTube, you're not sending them to Instagram. They can consume it all within that hub. It all lives in their website. That's right.
Yeah, no, I told her we're video marketing.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, and she's a producer and so I do content. And she does distribution. So always good to know people. And so yeah, it's gonna be fun tonight.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Tell you what to say. Creation, yeah.
I think the brain's really good. See, the thing is, I can't really think of way, like if I bring this over here, it's people are gonna have their heads in view,
Yeah,
so it's probably.
I think that's the best.
It's true.
It's all trial and error.
Was 1992 two guys I know that's scary. Two guys started like this. So we did that for probably about 6 years, and then I got back onto the advertising. So we established sort of interactive environment, and we were doing
Want that to
Maybe if we need to move.
Yeah.
what's that?
So you can get to, there's one there as well.
So, do you want me to, what would you like to do? You want to move it?
Well, I want to be able to plug it in.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Can you plug it from the front?
Do you mind holding it?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I don't want it to fall.
I think it'll reach. Okay, we may have to
We may have to scoot it a
let's
little
just
bit.
scoot it a little bit forward. That's a little bit better. Okay. Let's say there's a bit of a lag.
A delay, yeah.
So I'm just getting stuff. Yes. This is it.
So,
And have like
let's do that. I think it's
so
okay.
you can pass some
Yeah.
snacks and just
Good.
wait around.
Oh yeah. No, that's perfect. That's great.
How's everything going?
Perfect.
So very nice, very nice.
And do you guys need any audio coming out, or just the audio option that you just okay.
Yeah. So
We do have some videos.
I wasn't saying anything here for 3 years, but it was kind of
Oh,
Yeah, like I have a few clips that I'm going to show.
but First thing that you get back to.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem.
All you need is approved and it's,
The other guys running late, so.
Yeah, so I can do that through my phone with the Sonos. I just have to, my phone just died on me, so I'm just gonna go plug it in, and then I'll sit in, so if you guys need me, just like.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we're
So-
You're shooting just
in those videos, I mentioned.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
more than people get here.
We got Lucy and Sophia from online video.
Hi.
I'm David. David. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Sure. David.
They work for Big Prize Media about online PPC.
Yeah, but we do SEO on PPC. He's on PPC, I'm on SEO, so I'm actually on the content team, so it's both of us love video, so it's like perfect for yeah.
So you were doing a series of videos teaching people about Irish Parliament.
Yes, have you ever heard of Burn? It's like an Irish
First of all, where are you from?
I'm from Ireland.
What part?
Dublin.
Okay, that's like my husband's family on his mom's side. That's where
Ah,
he's-
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're-
Do you know what part of Dublin?
Yeah, well, I say Dublin, but they're actually from Cork County.
Ah, okay.
Family was, Dover too, and, I think, Harrington.
Dark is pretty
Yeah, Harrington was actually, so there's a whole history here, that's why it's.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of Canada. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Oh, yeah.
originally from Ireland,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
But I have a YouTube channel trying to teach people Irish sports gardening. So just like step-by-step tutorials. I got in touch with the U of T lacrosse team and started teaching them and capturing on video and stuff like that. And actually, it just shows you like there's very little competition in it because if you go on YouTube and type in Ireland, I'm actually on the first page.
And what is this sport like? Is it
It's
like-
like it's kind of like field hockey. It's like
Okay.
field hockey with lacrosse and the aggression of rugby.
That was
So-
probably.
Probably, yeah. There's like a huge amount here for it, so I just took a couple lessons at UT, so like there's actually there's a Celtic studies program there, so there
Is
is,
that on Canada now? There's so many Irish people.
there is, yeah, and there's more, slowly,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to get like, because when you start anything about it, there's not that much content there, so it's,
That's neat. That's really cool. So it's a really nice little bit of cultural preservation.
yeah, exactly.
It's really, really
Yeah.
important because especially as, heroes were coming to this country.
Yeah.
And my background's Italian, which is massive. Where are you from?
Romania.
It's a lot easier where the second, third generation comes in.
The original thing, yeah. And even like I've been in Canada 4 years and then 1 year in the States, and my accent is kind of hybrid. So it's like it's interesting.
That's why I actually asked, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
because
this some people
I'm
think.
used to being around Irish people.
Yeah.
And it's, you can tell right away, I wasn't really thinking of exactly
No,
where
I
you're
know.
from.
It's interesting to me as I'm saying, but like to Canadians,
See,
it's
my
like,
back
oh,
home, maybe like.
oh, I think I'm American. So I'm saying like, no, I didn't actually grow here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same, 'cause it's out there.
Well,
They
yeah.
make fun of us. So they say the same boot. Yeah. And it's like, where are you getting that from?
Or maybe we have an accent.
They think we
Yeah.
have an accent. No, it's you.
It's probably like a very remote place that says boots. I haven't really heard of boats, but it's like very south.
Yeah.
But,
That's really, that's interesting.
yeah.
So how long have you been there?
We did like December 20. Wow. I've been on a side project, so I have like 13 videos on
Nice.
so chipping away.
Yeah, a little bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Edmonton is the longest part.
So do you guys work out this building?
No, we're on Bay Street.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Queens Quay there.
This is a nice, oh, that's a nice area.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you gotta get water.
Really?
Well, it's been like where we lost time of basketball. Yeah, go
It's
basketball.
very, it's very.
Well, it's when the house open.
Yeah. It reminds me
Yeah.
of a lot of the, it reminds me of a lot of places that were downtown, and first went down. So, yeah. So, I was there, it's right there, and my .com, I sold it for .com, got out, and I was what can you say? Explain it, take it. So, yeah, and about that, meeting us, now she's just two guys, like Stuart, so we had to sign up. So it was fun times, it was crazy times, it's nobody knew which one things were going. And it's almost like this little person. As a kid, is during my night, you know, strategy, because it's like kind of like this first thing was really in a bubble. So early night, we go into you guys just don't get, so I was working with some great advertising and stuff. And they were starting to do media. So we were drafting. Oh, yeah.
About school.
I think the job is
Create records, very uptown each year. Films for them, and then have a society, and then so it's content that we just do online. So that was my next stage, like how do I get these team things? Then we do that, and that's what I usually do.
right? So yeah, the market value is a year, it's not a year. So they will do 2 years, right?
Yeah.
You can't stage, it was first, plan money, so it was first, I did web, I did live feed, for Can Stage, I did the first online HIV AIDS fundraiser, so just realizing how much music was almost. Yeah, on CNN, I did that for this biggest production schemes. Then I went on to get also contract to do these projects. And I actually developed those first probably the first translated. I didn't even know translated was.
You were just doing this.
I was
Or
just
just
doing
not a lot
it.
of time, it's
What I
like
was doing
this for
was like,
4 years, just to learn anything else, to search, and then just go out and do documentaries, and you know how to get the music on.
how do you want to do that? I don't know, figure it out. Okay, I went home. And it was like, this was like the time when the staples were going on. I was using two separate at a time when they were calling grunge music. So it's also like kind of early 90s, like the bars and music was the most nice bands. So it's like, okay, so you want an entire music bar band, choose them, one. So they brought in the styles and designers, we created the filmmakers, we have to do right. We have to unreleased music from the lawyers in Los Angeles.
Optimizing.
Give it to me. And I put it on the website. I would say, do that. I said, I tried to slide 2 months and walk through it. But something's not really. Finally, I said, I love this. So it's like, they put the song on the website. Before we did that, we translated like prosecutors, all the radio stations in Canada, publicizing things going on, these songs and had this consumer invited, and all the radio locals, we had to be on their direct, all of the products, they were on the stations, they were all there. She didn't have that one. 600,000 good names. And that's what I've seen. Just read it down.
What gave you the idea to put it on the website? Just like give a sample so people, instead of just like happens, like you need to figure it out. Yeah.
It's a long game.
It is.
But it's worth it.
You know, social media and internet is
Yeah, true. Personal websites. Yeah. Yeah. People need to hear it. Like, so you can have all this branding around it, but they just want to. Yeah. Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah. It's kind of like the community building thing. If you look at any YouTube, they're all female.
He's design and a lot of resources too.
And it's that they're designing programs and on their website.
I guess I think we do follow like strong
It's like the
model
strategy. So yeah, it's I think that's the basic.
So yeah, certain information, motivation, dealing with multiple sclerosis across this, and so did that with YouTube, and we also and now I know it's my hashtag, my story, all search that. So
Just the extended business. Now, again, for the same pieces of podcast, or not the same thing, but it's the long markets.
just try to use jobs that way. There's such a small, I think like such a small population. I think like just 1 million people share versus 40 million. Actually, global pressures.
I see there's some people journey to make their way in.
Which is fine. It's like for Easter Sunday, I see people found like there when they pick me up on top of the same protect me at dinner. However, not physically there, but it's where we got to by this headset. So there's a lot of stuff going on now. So yeah, no,
There's a nutrition burn now too, so we have YouTube kids by the nutrition manager through Facebook groups. So we create that video. Traffic to YouTube, so the influencers right. So smart. Search for it.
no, that's. Well, I think you're onto something. It's like the dating bloggers. If you look at like, you're working where a place nice that. Yeah. Like I was seeing this yesterday, like because he dating blogs and he spends a lot of time. But like, I wonder what that I wonder like whether like they're like you're getting to see it like yeah. 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 Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it was just never even have songs. Well, it's not like a fan beat it, it's that's why it's like that's so much. Well, like he's insane. Oh, yeah, he's. Well, this actually is this is in the sense that they launched it was not like Steve Jobs move. Because he was getting all these pre-orders and he was building this brand and like his focus and actually it's kind of like yeah. I came for yeah. Yeah, but like that's kind of it's like people are
See bikers. Hey guys. Hi Lucy, I'm Tyler. Nice to meet you. Hey Sophia, nice to see you. How are you? Good. Drew. Nice to meet you. Oh no, just talking to you. I'm just love to see more people are trying to make their own
with video.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. Hey, I'm David.
Hey,
Nice to meet you.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's good space. It's been very interesting. Very interesting last years. Yeah. It's been, sure a lot of products are on sales side, sales so yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's part of SEO. It's like it's distribution. Yeah. She's just like trying to get promotion. It's actually so see. I think kind of it's like yeah. It is sound and yeah, so definitely.
So what do you do now?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're consistent, yeah.
Gary can choose to start with snacks or use
Like the source of it. Yes. Yes, but like conversations being around here, so probably do this.
So you're in marketing or?
yes.
I'm a video director. I know, I'm curious. About, what happens to videos after.
Yeah.
My friend, I think that works for somebody in Germany, so she's again, it's like you service. So that's good to find. Like I don't.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens out here? What is it?
Okay, all right, so like, I know, that's
Essentially, you do. I just came out here.
Oh, Sophia, nice to meet you.
Oh, yes, Sophia. That's
Yes.
also the introduction.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I came very early actually. I'm from Mississauga.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
It's better early than late. You haven't missed anything so far. So good. Fantastic. And what were you hoping to learn out of today?
because I have some personal interest about the social media,
Okay.
marketing, and digital analytics.
Okay.
So this part I'm very interested in, and some other friends they also want to know about this.
Ah, okay. So you're looking specifically at Vidyard? Is that what you mean? Or just in general, like social media and video?
Not general. I just want to know what part is this product is better than something else, right?
What do you mean? So we're going to be talking about video, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about, I'm going to be talking specifically about sort of video content, types of videos. that you can
B2B,
actually-
those kind of the B2B
Yeah.
marketing, video marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to know why we have this kind of product, because we already have some other product, right?
Oh, you mean in terms of different kinds of content?
Just like we have some other video product like YouTube, so why we have this kind of product?
Oh, okay.
Which product? Yeah, which product that actually this product can beat the others, right?
Ah, okay. I see what you mean. Okay. Yes, I will address the difference between video and different types of content and why video might be a better option in some cases. So,
What is just why we talk about B2B? This product, why it's focused on the B2B market?
I think it's because of the fact that it's done by Marketing Automation Toronto. So that's who's sponsoring the conference, today's event, right? So they want to make sure that the audience who is coming wants to be focused in this area and why. I have a few examples that are not B2B. And certainly anything that we do that can be either B2B or B2C, but that's why there was a focus on B2B. But we've expanded it a little bit, so it's not.
The title looks very interesting.
Yeah.
It's about the video marketing. Then why
Why is B2B curious?
Yes. Well, certain video types lend themselves better to B2B versus B2C. Right, so for example, you should for a B2B, you're not going to really expect something to go viral. You're not expecting someone to necessarily share it unless they have a specific need for that product or whatever is in the video for that piece of content. So it's never going to be, you can never measure yourself based on video views because you're probably not going to get you might, but the likelihood of it happening is slim to none.
But sounds like it's because I know I have a friend who's doing some B2B, the kind of shopping, online shopping mall thing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe this product will be a good fit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There is actually there's a company that runs it in it's called Zappos, and what they have done is they created videos of the products of each individual product, and they were finding a 5 to 10% lift in sales. So it does. I mean, I will address that a little bit in my presentation, but it pushes people along the journey faster than other people. So, you know, if you think about it, you watch
Video marketing actually very effective.
Yes. Yes.
My friend is he's running a training center, right? Then he puts a lot of videos on YouTube.
Yep.
Actually, it's now half of the student come from YouTube actually. So,
Yeah. So we're here just to let people know.
but your product is another video product, right? It's
So what
different
we
from
actually
YouTube.
create videos. So we create videos on behalf of clients. Tyler is actually from Vidyard, and he has a distribution platform. Once those videos are completed, they go into his system and show you how to distribute them.
Then I understand.
So
Otherwise,
you're
I
looking at his
yeah.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm thinking you have some competitive product competing with the YouTube.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think Tyler competes directly with YouTube either. He'll describe the
It's
video
like just
platform.
like a distribute, just like a content publish, right?
Yeah.
It's you just create the video content, right? And he just publish to the platform.
That's right. So we are
Then I
actually
got it.
compatible businesses. We are not competitors at all.
Yeah, it's so cool. Then they are
Work
competing with YouTube.
Could you imagine? I don't know that anyone can at this point. I mean, you know, there are social media platforms that are introducing video that are trying to compete with YouTube. So Periscope and Vine and Instagram and Facebook, like, they're trying to compete in terms of creating video. So,
They are still very strong.
well, it's clearly working enough that everybody wants to invest in it. So I don't know why everyone doesn't create videos. That's where I'm like, oh, what's the hell though? Why are people still not creating videos?
I like videos.
I do too. I'm a big fan. It's just interesting. I'm like, oh. Or sometimes I'll talk to people and be like, hey, you want to do a video?
But sometimes when I
Like, really?
Feel like a movie, right?
Well, yeah, it's like a little movie that you get to do yourself. So it's interesting. So we actually have a live feed. So you can watch.
So yeah, just subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, you can subscribe to the channel, or even if you just go onto the channel itself, you can find it.
Better than the need to come. Otherwise, I need to spend 2 hours on the way.
Yeah, you could have. But you know what? You're here. It's not the same. I mean, this is the second best thing. The first is to be here. So it's good. Did you want to get any snacks or anything? Oh. 31 people registered, but but I'm sure Dan will also tell them about the live feed, so in case they miss it, watch it. Or the people who may not make it.
But there is not say in that meetup say you could see the online.
No, because
Otherwise, they will not.
I was already going to do the live feed, but I don't know if Dan wanted to do it. And then he was like, oh, okay, now that you're doing it, you just tell everybody. Okay. So it's all good. It's better that you're here. It's better that you're here. I'm just gonna get some drinks.
Yeah.
My friends at school, but they just. So hopefully she makes sense. Well, like I don't know. You tend to work with so I have 7. And, but, like I know there's less than 7. So, yeah, I mean, it depends, like, is it, it's fast paced, so that's why it's harder, right? It's a fast paced video, that's a lot more, right? It's a lot more. It's just probably a mess. It is relevant. It is relevant. Unless you have some kind of training, let's say, like much as a website. Yeah. But again, it's hard to talk. It's just a lot of separate to I kind of feel like it's how much yeah, I have been. Last year was really good. This year's been pretty good. I actually this week is my favorite team. Right now, just so it's it's a lot of time. There's a reason why it exists. Again, most of my work was just stuff. For the most part. Yeah, not bad, but it's still you see different videos. Oh yeah. Google something and see yeah. Well, that's a problem too. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. So, like, ask why. So, that's but I feel I actually there's always like this thing. Yeah, there's a section that's yeah, no, it is growing, but it's again, it's cheap, right? It's there's a lot. And like I said, I would say it's so a lot of it's a lot of it's a crazy. It's like I just
Welcome. We're gonna start just in a couple of minutes. People mentioning their companies. I know. But I think it's the next one that they're competing against. Yeah, later, I don't know. But yeah, they're gonna be live streaming it. So. Okay, I'll start in a couple of minutes.
I'll leave it on.
No, it does. Yeah, definitely. Or if you like to share with yeah, that will actually also yeah, I think that's one of the things like trying to push it. That's why they go with YouTube, because they push YouTube videos. It's opposite to it.
Alright, we're gonna get started. Alright, thank you very much everyone for coming. We're competing against the nice weather that we have outside. I'm sure more people will be coming soon, but thank you so much for coming. It's the Better Video Marketing Strategy Meetup. So we have two exciting presenters, Sophia and Tyler. They probably got just meet them at the back over there. So here at the Marketing Automation Meetup, we focus on promoting the marketing technology space, customer relationship management, business to business, marketing strategies, and everything related to the modern marketing world. So we try to have everything very practical and very useful for users and also for companies that try to use all this technology. So I hope you learn a lot. Cisco, the statistic from Cisco says that 80% of the content on the internet will be video by 2019. So we're still ahead of the curve a little bit with video, but that's what we're here to learn. So our first presenter today, it's Sophia. Please come on stage. Please come on stage. So Sophia is both an actress and an MVP. So Sophia, you're gonna tell us about on-brand video a little bit, and you can start your presentation.
Okay, I was gonna do kind of a little bit of both in my presentation, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Lucy and I are so happy to be here. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Dan, for letting us come in and talk about what we love to do every day. So I hope that you find something useful out of the presentation, and if you have any questions, happy to answer them at the end. So let's get started here. Do you want to come in and help me out a little bit?
So we got live streaming over there on YouTube.
Yes.
I send out the link through the meetup group, so people will be joining us, will be watching us virtually.
Is it recorded or not politically correct? No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
Is there a rating system for the video?
There is. It's not 18 and over, so there might be younger people watching, so just be careful. And okay, they want to launch for me, I guess. Oh, here we go. Really, I didn't know I already did. Okay. Okay, so that's us. All right, so this is just us very briefly. We work with a lot of people who are freelancers. One of them is actually here today, Christy. So I just wanted to shout out to my partner in crime over here, Lucy Delat. She is our creative genius behind on-brand video. I'm the Chief Development Officer, and Dave, hi Dave, he's in the live feed. He's doing our Twitter chat, so if you wanted to go on to hashtag OBV chat, you can also follow us on Twitter. He's going to be doing the whole Twitter feed today. And okay, so just to cover off what we're going to be doing, what I'm going to cover today, why you should consider video, what types of videos you can create, and what to think about during production. So I'm going to run through it, and if you guys have any questions at the end, I'm happy to answer anything that might not have been covered in the presentation. Okay, so first and foremost, why do we have video? Just yes, okay. So basically, in terms of answering the question, 74% of bidders who watch a demo are likely to remember the product. So if you think about it, you're watching a particular product demo, let's just say for example, And if you think about how many things you actually remember, because you're really getting an intimate look into that particular product or service. So you're getting the option of being able to say, hey, what kind of questions might I have about this particular, let's say it's a technology project or a product rather. You have, the specs that you're looking for, the usage that you're looking for, and if any of those product videos can actually answer those questions for you, is there really anything else that you need to know that you can move forward, or that you're not going to be able to remember later on when you're at the store, when you're at Best Buy, or when you're at the source, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that particular product. Now I know that it's here, and we can go. And then if you compare it into something like written content, like a blog or white paper, only 12% of people actually remember any of that information. So if you're thinking about, making sure that you're making an impression with your audience, video might be a way to go. So in terms of higher conversion rates, okay, so you have 40% of consumers who will watch a video and place an order. Again, it makes sense. You have more information at your fingertips than you would of just a still piece or a white paper that you didn't have time to read because you don't have time to read 30 pages. This is something you might want to consider. 37% will actually recommend products to others. So it's so easy to be able to have a video that you have on YouTube, to be able to share that within your email, within social media, within any other types of platform. It's really easy just to be able to say, hey, check this out, I really like this product, take a look at it. Okay, so email with the word video in the subject line when you're talking about in particular email marketing automation system, you have, it opens, if you put video in the actual subject line, 7% more. And then if you think about even like the open rates themselves, 5.6% higher, 94.6% or 96.4% click-through rates. And we've actually seen that with some of our clients when they're putting together any type of email campaigns, they actually have seen these rates as well. So, maybe it's just because it's still a novelty and not everyone's doing it yet. This is the reason why. But at the same time, people are taking time to actually watch video rather than reading anything particular, so you may want to consider that as an option. And then this part in here is for longevity. That's what I wanted to talk about. And I know it's hard to see over here, but we have these two clients who have had their videos on YouTube, one of them for the last 5.5 years. And it's still just as relevant today as it was 5.5 years ago when they posted it. And they are still getting traffic from that particular piece of content that you are not going to be able to get with different other pieces of content. So as long as it stays relevant, and in their case, we created basically like a product demo for them. And as long as there weren't any fundamental changes to the actual app themselves, the video still stays relevant. They still get downloads of the app when people watch the video. We have another client who is also, again, they have this information, it's not really changing very frequently. They have the ability to keep it on YouTube, and then people just continue to find it. So if you think about when you're investing in content and how you can amortize the cost of that content over, in these cases, 5 years, maybe even 10, who knows. So you want to think about that when you're thinking about the types of content that you're creating and what you want to put your investment in. So some types of videos to consider. So the case videos here, case study videos. Let me just see if I can get this to play for me. Okay. So a case study video, this was actually something that we had created for one of our clients. We wanted to demonstrate how we were able to go from a problem that they had to what the solution was, as in this case it pertained to video, and then what the result of it was. So if you follow that structure, you can actually create a video case study as opposed to one that you are putting in a text format or you're putting it in a white paper or whatever you're doing in that capacity. This was a way that we could do that and have people see it within 2.5 minutes or so. So I want to be able to play it for you. It's like 10 seconds of video. No? Here we go. Oh, thank you. Okay.
No, you can't hear it. Okay. Here we go. Let's move on. So product demos. You probably guys have already seen this one, the Hey Siri video. So it actually is a product demo. It doesn't look like one because you've got Cookie Monster and the whole bit in there, but it is actually a product demo. So it's a clever way of being able to demonstrate the benefit of the actual product itself in its natural environment. So in this case, you'd be using Hey Siri perhaps as a timer, perhaps just to be able to do it hands-free, whatever the case may be. So these are typically really effective in being able to demonstrate the benefit of whatever that particular product or service might be. So explainer / company profiles. So you have the ability, particularly for tech companies, when you have a process that you're trying to explain, you're trying to get across, what is it that you do? What is the benefit of this particular technology or whatever it is that you're selling? You want to be able to say, who are you, what do you do, and what is the benefit to me? So if you could do that within 2.5 minutes, you're good to go. And in some cases, you may not have a particular process, but you have, maybe you are a law firm, maybe you are an insurance agency, and again, you want to explain the difference. What makes you different than anybody else? And how can you talk about what you are as a company? Maybe the kind of culture that you have. So somebody like Uberflip, you have a great culture, and you want to be able to highlight that as an advantage of what your company offers than anyone else. So these are great types of things that you can put on your landing pages, you can put on the home pages of your website, and people can certainly share them should they be interested in your company as well. Customer testimonials, those are always great. It gives you an ability to be able to, have in your own words or in the company, in the words of your customers, what it is that you have done for them, and who doesn't want to be able to see that. I've seen some really good ones. I think it really takes whoever it is that's on the other side of the camera to really bring out what that particular customer really feels about the product. Because oftentimes what I find is right in the beginning, if you ask the question of okay, so how did you find our product? Or did you like it? And they're like, yeah, it was good. And that's really not compelling enough, and there's not really enough information to really be able to, get across what you want to other potential customers. So you have to kind of go beyond it's so great, that's wonderful, and you have to really probe and ask the right questions to be able to elicit an answer that is informative and interesting to a potential audience. Video logs. I don't know if anybody knows Tara Hunt at all. She runs a little video log called Truly Social, and she talks specifically about, basically the idea of being truly social. So if you ever get a chance, she's fantastic. You should definitely check her out. But she does this on a weekly basis. The other option that you could do, she creates her own videos, and she's really good at doing that. But if you wanted to do that even for yourself, you could consider something like Periscope. You can actually just go on there. It's like a live feed, or like what we're doing today with YouTube. We're actually just doing a live feed. So you can, jump on there anytime that you have something that you want to say, or anytime something new comes up, or let's just say, for example, if people are having perhaps any issues with some of the products or services, you have the ability just to be able to have that platform that you can say, hey, this is what's really going on, and have that sort of meaningful conversation with people on a regular basis. So that's another option to consider. Thought leadership videos, particularly for smaller companies that may not be as well known, this might be a great way. Like, for example, in this case, we have this one is at MIT. This gentleman is an aerospace professor, and you've got Elon Musk. So you're able to then kind of leverage off of the brand presence that is Elon Musk, and be able to create a little bit of that sort of association with your own brand itself. So this might be something to consider if you want to be able to leverage someone else that has a larger brand than yourself. In terms of do-it-yourself videos, there are some videos that I would say, yeah, go for it, have fun, try things out, see what works for you. And these are the lists that I think would be the most appropriate. So webinars, go nuts, create them, they're awesome. Live streaming like we're doing today, social media videos, so again, like a Periscope or an Instagram or a Vine, those are great videos to be able to do on your own, because they're just capturing the moment.
And people actually really like a lot of those authentic moments that you're having. So those are all really awesome. Thank you videos. There's one particular video that I saw that someone had put actually on a, it wasn't a thank you page, but it was actually an unsubscribe page. And it was really interesting because he had a video that basically said, hey, we're really sorry that you want to go. Is there anything that we can do to kind of bring you back? And if you just don't want to get too many emails, then feel free to change your notifications so you're not getting daily emails. And it was such a heartfelt moment that a lot of people ended up not unsubscribing, and they just ended up staying as subscribers and just changing their notifications. So it was a great way to kind of keep these guys coming back, without having to lose them completely, because once they're gone, they're pretty much never coming back. So that was a really clever way of being able to use video to kind of keep that connection going with this person who might otherwise have left. And so you can find these little creative moments where you can create these intimate relationships with your either potential customers or existing customers. You have also, like I mentioned, the thought leadership videos, again, great thing that you can do on your own. As far as when it's time to start hiring a professional, these are sort of the categories of videos that I would suggest that you should leave to people like us. Just because they require a lot of story structure, so things like product demos. If you do the product demo in a way that is not really appealing or boring or whatever the case may be, you will lose your audience that way. For company profiles, how you see your company could be very different than the way that other people are perceiving that company. So you want to make sure that you have someone who's sort of apart from everything and that can really distill it down into what your target audience is going to want. And as much as you may think that you have all the data to say, okay, I know my buyers' personas, I know who they are, I know what they're interested in, you are a little bit still really close to your company. So it's hard to be objective that way. How-to tutorials. I was just looking at a bunch of them today. So many of them don't get done really well. It's an opportunity again to showcase how you can help your customers, and having a video where you can't see where the person's clicking and it's really small font and they tell you that there's a button somewhere and you can't see the button anywhere, it just creates an atmosphere where you're not really getting the full benefit out of it. So having a how-to tutorial, especially being able to test it with the audience and say, hey, did you understand that this step now leads to this step, now leads to that step? Because sometimes it might be really, really easy for you because you deal with the product on a daily basis, but it's not necessarily as intuitive for them. So you want to make sure that it's done properly so that you can continue to have that relationship and not have people frustrated at how they just still can't figure out what they're supposed to be doing. Case study videos, again, you're dealing with a problem, solution, result structure, but you want to make sure that that structure is engaging and interesting and people are still staying with you on that. So I'd say to leave that particular sort of storyline to a professional. Explain your company profiles. Again, I've seen it, you've probably seen it as well, particularly with tech companies, they will put almost like a how-to video as a representative of their company profile. And that's the thing, is like, you don't even know what the company does yet and what the benefit of the company is, but you're kind of already involved in what their software platform is. So you have to take that time to really explain why does this company matter to me? Why is this product beneficial to me? What am I really getting out of it? So you want to make sure that that's properly done, and that's the sort of the first impression that you're getting from your audience. So make sure you're doing it right. Customer response story, again, like I mentioned earlier, being able to elicit a particular response takes some practice and takes an expert to be able to do that. Because if you try to do that yourself, you may just end up with people, and I've seen this many times, where the first question is like, okay, what do you think about this product? Yeah, it's good. And you're like, anything else? No, it's good. Yeah, it works. It's just there's nothing else to do with it. And not necessarily everybody's charismatic on camera, and really that's not even that important. It's really just about being able to ask the right questions so that you can actually get the benefit out of it.
Okay, so animation. So I want to just talk a little bit. I know that some people are, really gravitating towards animation, so I wanted to address that versus live action. So with animation, I'd say animation is really used well in a capacity if you have a technology company and you need to explain a process, or if you have a complicated process that you are trying to simplify. So that's the capacity that I would say is the ideal way to use animation. I would also suggest, there's a lot of sort of stock kind of animation out there. I would say, you are trying to identify yourself as someone who is unique, and you uniquely, as your company or product or service, can satisfy that particular problem. So you don't want your video to start to look like everybody else's. So if you have stock footage that you picked up from Animoto or any of the other places, chances are there are other companies who are doing the same, and somehow your video and their video is going to look perhaps very similar. And then as a customer, it's like, well, how do I know the difference between these two companies that have the same video? So you have to be really careful about how you're using that. And I would say if you're trying to build, a brand identity, then make sure you're having customized animation. That does mean sometimes that animation can be more expensive. It can cost, in some cases, $10,000 to do a video. But as I said, if you're thinking about the longevity of that video, you can continue to use it 5 years out, and it's still every single time going to be able to bring you the kind of results that you're looking for. So that's something that you want to consider. So that's my take on animation. As far as live action is concerned, if you are trying to create an emotional appeal with someone, then I'd say live action is probably the best way to go. It can sometimes be cheaper than animation as well, so you might want to consider, maybe you want to have a mix of both strategies, where you have animation for one type of video and then you have live action for another. So that's something to consider. The other thing I wanted to mention is proper voiceover. So this is actually, interestingly enough, having a conversation with a client about this, where we were trying to figure out what the voice of the company was. And he was like, so do you mean like, when you're at a bank and they usually have a male voice, and then when you're at Sears, they have a female voice? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, so are you the bank or Sears? So what is it that represents you? And how can we make sure that we pick a voice that will be representative? Sometimes when I see a lot of the stock footage animation, they will often have a voice that does not match up at all with what is going on the screen. So it's really important to make sure that you pick an appropriate voice and not just one that was sort of, already there in the actual stock footage. So as far as live action is concerned, the same thing applies. You want to make sure you have the right voice, the right actors, the right directors, people who are doing the right things. So sometimes, most of the time, that costs more money than if you were to get someone who is fresh out of film school or whatever the case may be. They're all lovely people, but they're you can tell when there's not enough experience involved in it. So make sure you're doing it right. Hire the right people for the right jobs, doing it at the right time. Testing your videos. So make sure that you are testing the videos to, again, make sure that when you're doing those how-to tutorials, talk to someone who knows nothing about your company. Talk to someone who does know something about your company, and figure out, are there places that you could have done better? And do that before it launches, so that this way you're able to say, okay, we've tweaked what we can, we know what we're doing, and ideally this should really work out. And so many times I find sometimes people will just go, oh, well, it was so great, and we finished it, and it looks beautiful, and it's fantastic, and it's this wonderful graphic, heavy motion graphics, and it kind of says nothing. And I've seen this a lot of times where it's beautiful, there's like all kinds of these great shots going everywhere, but you have absolutely no idea at the end of the day what this company does, and you enjoyed it, maybe watching it, but you may not watch it. As we've seen some research, humans now have, you've got 9 seconds to make your mark. So that's kind of tough. So you have to make sure that you are providing some type of value, and there's a reason for people to watch, and there's a reason for people to share.
Sophie, I just want to mention you were touching on something.
Yeah.
Lucy, by the way. It was a good point you were making. Production value versus content and storytelling. Maybe you could expand a little bit more on that.
Okay. So basically, that's what I was trying to say essentially, is that you have, people who are really super good at being able
flashy, either animation or motion graphics or live action videos. But at the same time, it requires taking some time to understand who is your buyer persona, what is it that they are looking for, what is it that you're providing, and how can we translate what they need from a buyer's persona perspective into a script and to a final product that will actually resonate with them. Because that's really the whole point. I mean, it's not to be, you're not in the business of making art, you're in the business of actually selling products or services. So, making sure that that follow through and that whole process happens is really important. And it's really important that it takes place in the beginning of the actual storytelling journey. Because a lot of times what we find is that we have clients that just want to skip ahead right to the script, or in some cases, they've created their own script. And they're just like, hey, here's my script, turn it into something beautiful that is going to go viral. And it's just impossible. So I would just say, take that time. And if you have to take, a month or two or whatever it takes, then do it. Yes?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Any question? Okay, and so that's really it for me. I don't know, Lucy, did you want to add anything to
No, I
it?
think that the last point was really important, because just sharing down our experience sitting on the other side, working with clients, the thing that we see the most in people, because they are so exuberant and so many people have such fantastic products and services, but they're so close to it. And sometimes I think there's a bit of an ego, so they're not willing to take on sometimes some extra help, some extra opinions, some input. So my advice is if you're doing a project like this, whether you're working with us or somebody else, really do listen. If you have people that have worked in content, I'm a feature film screenwriter. My last film just was nominated for an award. I've spent the last 20 years writing. That's what I do. Sophia, and directing as well. I'm an actor-performer. Sophia is a producer who's produced some award-winning films, acting. We're invested in content. You have to understand content, because content is king. You can have the most expensive camera. You can really do a great production job. But if your content is not there, you've lost the message and translation of the technology. So please always be sure to balance that technology with your message. So that's all I just wanted to add. Okay.
Yep, so that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Yeah, big question actually.
Yeah.
Content is king, but if the distribution sucks, nobody's going to know about the content, right?
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
So-
With that being said, if you have great distribution and a crappy video,
Yeah.
it's not going to do anything for you either.
Exactly. My question is in video marketing in particular.
Yeah.
How is the distribution different from the blog writing or any other stuff?
Well, actually, Tyler's going to be able to answer part of that question. It's quite ubiquitous in the sense that, for example, you're probably not going to be able to share your blog on Instagram. You might have a link to it on Twitter, Facebook, other social media platforms, but Instagram, you can take a snapshot. I guess so, but I don't know. Would you read it on Instagram?
No, but you can give them the preview and give them
Totally, but that's the thing, is you can give a preview to some extent, but you can't read that full, blog post. And that's not really the appropriate content platform for it, nor is anyone looking for a blog post on Instagram. They're looking for beautiful pictures or beautiful videos. So that's what I mean, is just in the fact that blog posts have their limitations, whereas video is a little bit more ubiquitous in that you can put it anywhere. You can put it in email, you can put it on your website, you can put it in Instagram, you can put it on Twitter, you can put it on Facebook, you can have YouTube. So it just has a lot more to work with. And if you're thinking about, in terms of a return on investment, when you're investing in content, you want to make sure that you can use that content as long as you can for as many platforms as you can. So I would say, that answered your question.
Basically, the question is how should we distribute the content? How should we distribute video content?
Any way you can. I would say, so just like the ones that I mentioned, so email, Facebook. Facebook loves native video. They have really created an atmosphere that is really conducive to native video. So you might want to try that. And then you have Vine, you have Periscope and that sort of thing. So I would say anywhere that you can possibly do it. We didn't get a chance to see it, but one of our clients had actually put their video up at a trade show. And he just had it like running behind him, and so when he couldn't take the time to actually answer people's questions, the video did it on his behalf, so that by the time that the person came to send, he was free to be able to talk to them, their only question was, where do I download? Because the video already did everything that he needed it to do, and so he was able to get more traction out of that. So he found a creative way to use it as part of his trade show, and I know there's a lot more people who are doing that as well. So yeah, I mean, it's really just about being clever, using it wherever you can. Yeah. Yes?
You mentioned testing your video.
Yeah.
How do you get to do that? What kind of, do you test? Do you redo the whole thing? Do you?
No. So what we try to do, the way that we work in our process, and other companies may work very differently, is we try to work from a script perspective and work back with that buyer's persona or representatives of the buyer's persona to say, how is this sort of resonating with you? And so we can make those changes to the script really early on before things get really expensive. And then we hope that things are going to go along the way in terms of production. When we get to a production, depending on how much the budget of the client is, we could, let's say for example, like they do in Hollywood movies, they make 2 different endings, and they kind of make a decision once they've had the buyer's persona, your A test and your B test, take a look at the different endings, then you decide which one to optimize and just create that particular video, the one that ended up with. So you can do that, or you can just determine at the end if there's any sort of tweaks that need to get done. So, for example, I don't know if some of you guys saw our 30-second promo video, but that was user tested as well to say, hey, can people read it? Oh, I'm having some trouble. Okay, so we made some adjustments to make sure that people could actually read, what was on the actual video itself. So we work in this process where we kind of measure twice, cut once, because video production is more expensive and it's a piece of content that can live for 5 years, as opposed to a nice little infographic that is relevant today and then irrelevant tomorrow. It takes more time and it's a bigger investment. So, any other questions? Yeah.
A comment. So, like on what I found from testing the videos, it's kind of like not one video that's going to answer everything. It's like if it's YouTube, like audience retention. So like you're to see, I don't know whether you probably used it. Basically, it's like a graph that's when people drop off the video. So it's kind of like bounce rates is the way I kind of look at it. But like that kind of tells you for the next video as well.
Yeah.
Like if from my videos, like I noticed when I was saying like thanks for watching, people dropped off, so I stopped saying it. And then like my future videos, I don't mention it, but that's kind of like an interesting one as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can, particularly with YouTube, what you can do is you can test certain variables at different times. So you can test an annotation, or you can test something like "Thank you for watching." If you can try to isolate the variable as best that you can, you'll be able to determine things like, oh, that really wasn't working. And sometimes if you're looking at your audience retention graph, if you see a really big dip at some point in the middle of your video, then you know that that section is a problem, and then you can go back and fix that. So using those graphs really helps a lot. That being said, the typical slope is like this, and I think it was there's a study. I think Wisteria had actually done a study, and we're talking about when people's drop-off points were. Typically, it's about 2 minutes. So you can capture people's attentions from about 0 to 2 minutes, and then after that, most people tend to drop off. So that's kind of become an industry standard, is 2.5 minutes is your maximum to tell your story. If you can tell it in 1 minute or less, then you're doing really well. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that you can make a really exciting video, but you're really accomplishing nothing.
Yep.
It kind of translated to me as, what are your goals when you start the project, and how are you achieving them? So thinking that concept, do you have, because you give a bunch of examples of testimonials and demo videos and stuff. Do you have any advice on where that fits into the sales funnel per se? Like when you're saying we're talking about brand awareness, you have maybe one type of video. If you're trying to get people to convert to like getting a demo of your product or getting a conversation, do you have like an order or of trying to push them down that funnel, or recommendations to that?
Yeah. it sort of just depends, again, like you said, like what is your goal? And you have to know, where people are in the funnel. So yeah, for example, something like the one that I mentioned with the Cookie Monster, that's probably going to sit more in the brand awareness in the top end of the funnel. But if you really wanted to look at a really in-depth product demo, you can create a product demo that will be further along in the chain. So it's kind of a question of like, what do you see as your goal?
And crafting the call to action as well.
Yeah, you can create the
Yeah.
call to action. And that's really it. So it boils down to like, what did you want that particular video to do? Like, were you expecting that the testimonial video should sit further down in the chain? We've actually even created videos that are specifically designed in for the sales funnel. Again, it's already so far down into the funnel that it's right into like when we're starting to have sales conversations. So what we did on that one is we found from our buyers' personas exactly what the objections were, and then we just created characters that literally were going to be the people that were going to be sitting in that room while we were having that sales conversation, and spoke directly to them and said, hey, we know that you're going to have this objection, so we literally have an actor that looks exactly like you and is addressing your concerns. So I would say some are better than others, but at the same time, it really depends on your goal. You could make a testimonial go further into the customer funnel. You could make a how-to video that is designed for the customer end of the funnel, so right all the way down to the end where you're just customer engagement level. So I'd say be creative, decide on what you do. The biggest thing is, what's your goal? What do you want it to do? And then after that, that's what the Apple did with the Cookie Monster, right? It's a product demo, really, but they did it in such a clever way that you wouldn't notice that. The average person isn't going to know that that's a product demo. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on something. So you were talking about persona and how it's very important to know your end consumer and understand them.
Yeah.
But then you're saying that, let's say you mentioned infographic might live today but die tomorrow, but wouldn't that apply to a video too?
So I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if you were here, but if you create a video where if your product isn't changing fundamentally, then that's where you can actually keep that video for the next 5 years. But if you have a product that is continuously being updated, or if you're adding a lot of features and functions that are really fundamental to the actual product itself, then yeah, you're going to have to create a new video. But we just found some examples of customers that, so for example, one of our customers was Family Resource Planning Canada. So they don't fundamentally change what they do, and they aren't going to fundamentally change what they do for the next 5 years. So for them, that video didn't need to change.
You truly believe somebody's not going to change for the next 5 years?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Family resource
what they
planning does the same
fundamentally
thing.
do as a service when they help children and parents bond, that's not going to fundamentally change. If you're looking at a technology company where you're looking at a product, yeah, that's going to change. And so you may have the options of saying, hey, this is what we do as a company, or this is what our core function is. We have a
No, I get it, but as your customer, you need to provide them with new content. You're not going to feed them the same video every time. Right?
No, you're not going to necessarily feed them the same video. But it's a question of how much video content do you want to be creating? Do you want to create 10 videos? Or do you, in some cases, they just want to create one video every 5 years, and that works for them. And they want to create other pieces of content that are cheaper for them. So it's just a question of budgeting and how much budget you have to work with and how much your product changes. If you don't have to change it, some people don't, and that's okay. But no, you're not necessarily expected to be able to continue to just keep sending them the same content over and over again. But they didn't have the budget to necessarily do a video every year. And they didn't have to.
To add on to your point, I would say it's a case-to-case scenario to it. Just last week I was searching how to install a Delta faucet, and the #1 video was the video from 2010. And the content of it was, I guess, through YouTube's algorithm, that it was more engaging or more appropriate to the viewer watching it. And the comments said so too. So if I just wanted to learn how to install a sink, it doesn't really matter how old the video is. Does it teach you how to install a sink efficiently? Cool.
But you're talking about process that doesn't change.
So yeah, it's case to case.
You don't talk about relationships. parents and children.
So are we talking about advertising videos or how-to videos? If it's just like how to fix a sink, you know, it doesn't need to change. But you know, if you have something on your website that discusses what your brand promises, the zeitgeist is going to change. And now with all the like, you know, every year, like if you look a couple years ago, like all the music we listen to is completely different. All the trends are completely different. But you know, if you have some stuffy thing that has like Sean Paul references in it, you know, people are going to look at your company, your brand, as some stuffy brand that hasn't grown. But if, of course, like you said, like if it's like a tutorial on how to do something, there's no point in changing it. But if it has like branding and trends in it, it's got to change.
So I think you answered your own question then. That's great, because if it's something that is just a sink, it's going to be fine to just have the old stuff. And you're absolutely right. Not everybody is Sean Paul. So it just depends on what you're doing.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sophia, for the presentation. So we got next Tyler, the Chief Marketing Officer at Vidyard. Come on over.
All right.
Have your presentation.
Do you have the slides up there?
Awesome. Hello, everybody.
Hey. Thank you very much, and just while you get that flipped over, I'll just do a quick introduction. So yeah, thank you all for coming and for being here. As mentioned, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Vidyard. We are a video marketing platform company, so we come from the technology side. We don't produce video content. We help businesses get the most value out of the videos that they're producing. A little bit more background. We, believe it or not, being in the video space, we actually work primarily with B2B companies. So the B2C world is great, and there's a lot of budget for big budget productions and advertising. But our world tends to be around companies who are using video as a core part of their content and their video strategies, which is becoming more and more common for more businesses. I'm sure, as all of you understand, there's more and more investment in content as a way to build relationships with customers, as a way to communicate what you do, to tell stories, which is becoming more and more important to differentiate your brand and to connect with audiences on a more emotional level. And we genuinely see businesses doing more and more video in addition to all the other content assets and visual content assets that they're investing in today. I mean, the reason we exist is because businesses are really doing exactly what Sophia's talking about, which is investing in video content throughout the buying journey, throughout the funnel, to create assets that help take people from right through from lead to revenue. So the days are gone where it's just about that one brand video or that one advertising video or that homepage video, right? I mean, for some businesses that's the starting point. But most companies we work with, right down to small businesses, medium businesses, enterprise, most of them have in the ballpark of 25 to 75 videos. A lot of them have hundreds of videos, and many of our customers have thousands of videos. And it's because they're investing in it as a core part of their content strategy, right? And that's the big change. It's not like, oh, video is something over there. It's just becoming a part of what businesses do because audiences expect it now, right? It's an age where we expect that kind of content, but it's also an age where we see it working. Again, because we need different ways to connect with audiences and differentiate our message and build awareness. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the market. I'll talk a little bit about the science side of video. And again, one of the big things that we work with our clients on, work with the industry on, is as you're investing more in video, you're producing dozens, hundreds of videos, right? You're obviously investing a lot of money, whether it's working with agencies, building it, either way, you're putting in a substantial capital cost to build that content. How do you make sure you're understanding what's working and getting the most out of it? To the point made earlier, how do you know when are people dropping off and what can you learn from that to improve the content you're producing? But also, how can you learn things like who's actually watching this content, right? It's great to produce videos, put them out there, and oh great, I got 10,000 views. I think that moved the needle on my business, but you really have no idea, right? Who are those people and relevant audience members or not? It's no different from big pieces of content like white papers and infographics that people are producing, right? You always want to know, okay, who is engaging in it? Can I use it to maybe generate a lead? And by understanding if a person actually engaged in that content, did they or did they not convert into a lead or an opportunity? That's going to help you know is this content working. So those are the things that we think about. And the last point I'll make before I dive into this is we also live a lot in this demand gen world and this marketing automation world, and think a lot about how does video play a role in a demand strategy, not just as a top of funnel asset. So I'll give you some insights into things we're seeing across the industry and across our customers, and we'll talk a little bit about science side of things. So yes, we're here because the play button is the most compelling call to action on the web. And again, we think about this from the demand side of the house, and whenever I talk about this, it's all about conversion. I'm a CMO myself. I care about demand and conversion. Frankly, that's number one on my list every day. Brand is great, awareness is great. Those are all things to bring people in so I can build demand and generate more leads for my sales team. And obviously, we find video works, but we continue to see it in the industry that it is becoming the most compelling call to action. It really is already the most compelling call to action. We continue to see reports that conversion and engagement on video content tends to be higher, and that play button, especially with the younger generation, is like a visceral reaction. It's like you see the play button, more inclined to push it than to click on a link to go and read longer form content. That said, of course, video isn't the only format. We all know it's a mixed content strategy that's working for businesses now. Some people will prefer to watch videos, some may not. But again, it's a critical part of what you do because you don't want to be missing on those audiences who are going to prefer to engage in video content. You guys know there's all sorts of wonderful stats I can throw at you. There's silly things like over 8 billion videos are actually played back every day on Facebook. It's just an absolutely ridiculous stat. It's true. Now, again, it counts autoplays and things like that, but the point is it's being ingrained every day right in our culture. And that's the big thing, the big shift that's happening is that videos have become an ingrained part of our culture. As mentioned earlier, because of how we interact with video content now and it as an emotional medium, over 80% of internet traffic is expected to be video by 2019. It's already over 60%. So there's just a huge swath of engagement around video content, and it's because it is an emotional content experience, right? When was the last time you kind of cracked a tear or busted a gut laughing after reading a paper? Probably not recently, anyone. If you did, I'd like to know who actually wrote it. But video content has that ability to spark emotion and build connection, and that's why it continues to draw people. But on the B2B side, I know that many of you are coming from the marketing automation world. I'm not sure how many of you are in B2B businesses, but we talk a lot about video as this big consumer medium and YouTube and all these things. Well, the reality again is in B2B, it's becoming a prolific and very important content medium. It's because as individuals, right? B2B is a bit of a fallacy because we're always selling to people. I think we all understand that. And people, again, in their personal and business lives tend to see the same things. And so with video becoming a part of what you do in your personal life, it's absolutely leaked over into the B2B world. There's lots of, again, great research going on in this space. This was one recent study by Think with Google, just validating that over 70% of B2B buyers watch video content now through the path to purchase. Millennials are a much bigger part of purchasing decisions within organizations now, and that's a big part to that. And so again, video content is important, not just top of funnel, but all the way through. Testimonials, explainer videos, product demos, company culture videos, all these things contribute to that content journey. And many of them, nearly half of those buyers, are on average viewing more than 30 minutes of content while researching products and companies. So again, it is a very important medium that we need to be thinking about, but all the way through the funnel to be educating these kinds of buyers and visually showing them what we do. This is again kind of a gratuitous stat slide, but the point of it is don't read them all. But the point of it is we continue to see video working all throughout the funnel, from click-through rates on email campaigns, which was mentioned, we use video in the subject line or video as a main call to action in email campaigns. It can boost conversion rates. On social, people tend to engage more in video and visual content. Search SEO is driven much more by video now. You're going to generally get better search results with video content that includes video. People spend longer, it's probably obvious and natural to think, but people do spend longer on pages with video content because they're more inclined to click play and watch for 60 seconds than they are to actually read for 60 seconds. Again, increase generally in conversion rates on pages that include video content as part of the call to action. Increase in purchase intent, and so we see it all through the funnel, right? Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's important to understand this because it is about walking people through and building that connection all throughout. Sophia did a great job talking about all the different parts of the art of video, the kinds of videos that we're producing, the importance of storytelling, the importance of script. It's no different from having a great writer to write content pieces, right? Our own team, I'll speak from my own experience. I've got a marketing team. We've got 3 writers, 2.5 video producers, the half is a co-op. It's great. He's working on it. So we've got 3 video producers, 3 content marketers, and 3 graphic designers. We have an incredible creative team. We also work with agencies and some of our content. But it's a dramatic shift from other marketing organizations I've been in where you have people with journalistic backgrounds, people who understand storytelling. One of our content marketers, that's her focus, right? She's brand and she's storytelling. And she's focused on whenever we're running a new marketing campaign, we think about, is there a video that's going to go along with this campaign or not? If so, what's the script, what's the story? And we riff on it, and again, it's a script writing process, and it's so important to this stuff, but it works, right? When you think about it and you approach it from a creative project perspective. Our designers get involved from the visual approach to it. Is it going to be live action or animated, right? What brings the story to life? And then, of course, our video producers, we have folks who are bringing animation, bringing live action, and they bring the stories to life. And this is everything from top-of-funnel marketing videos to customer testimonials we produce, right? We're always thinking that way. And for us, it really works. The piece that I'll talk more on is the science side of video marketing, the importance of data, the importance of understanding how are people interacting with this content, who's interacting with this, that influence your demand programs, your marketing programs, and how you reinvest in video content. Again, it's no different from anything else we do as marketers, right? We're always trying to understand what's working, what's not. We're putting dollars here, we're putting dollars there. If I'm spending on advertising, what's working. If I'm spending on a piece of content, it's no different. But the challenge with video has been, it's really been a black box for a lot of marketers. Right? The default is I'll use YouTube to host some content, I'll link to it on my website or an email or something, I'll know people are watching it or not, and that's usually my best measure is like view counts. And that doesn't tell the whole story. And so it's often been a challenge, and this is something that we solve. We're not the only ones, so there's a whole market around this, but I want to give you an idea of what's really happening out there. So on the science side, so as you're producing all this content, you're investing more, you're looking at video throughout the funnel. Just to go back to something that was mentioned earlier, is there are different goals with different videos you produce, right? Just like any other kind of content. Some of it might be brand awareness, and I am trying to generate eyeballs, and things like views might actually be more important. Others are things like product demos, explainers, they're conversion tools, right? And trying to drive the right people to watch and convert them to the next step. Some of them may be lower in the funnel, sales demos, webinars, right? Maybe you guys host webinars for your solutions. So webinars may be posted online, maybe something you put up on demand, and you want to use those as lead generators or generated leads for you, right? So again, you've got to think about video like any other marketing program you're doing. What's the goal? And if I understand my goal, I can measure towards that and know what's working and what's not. These are the kinds of things we work with our clients on, and there are different ways to do. This is just some fairly random snapshots of different things you'll see in analytics dashboards these days. This is just your kind of views by different videos and players, so you can start to get a sense for what content is being engaged with. You can usually click through on those to start to see and understand more details about individual videos and how they're engaging, seeing which videos are being watched on different channels, right? This is also an interesting thing where you can start to understand, okay, I produce this video, it's on my webpage, it's on my Facebook channel, it's on my LinkedIn channel, a few third parties have embedded it on their sites. Where am I actually engaging people and who am I engaging in different places? So understanding kind of the macro levels of how many people are engaging in the content is a great start, but then you're going to want to learn things like drop-off rates and heat maps and things like where are people engaging, where are they dropping off. When we work with clients and they start using our platform, often the first thing is they realize how much their content sucks, which is kind of sad to say, but you start to find out you really overestimate how successful your content is, and you start to realize like, oh, actually only 20% of people are watching all the way to the end. We spent a lot of time on that video, we thought it was amazing. And now we realize like, half the people who watch aren't even in our target, we don't know who they are. And of those watching, only 20% are making it all the way to the end. So what can we learn from that? Are there like drop-off points? The first 10 seconds might be too salesy, you're losing people, or you're keeping people and you're seeing drop-offs at different points. It was mentioned earlier, things like 2 minutes is kind of your max, which I would agree with. And I think what we see on average is, no matter how long your video, on average, usually like 40 to 50%, and that's probably a little generous, probably around 40% is kind of the average completion rate for typical business videos. I'm not talking about a 10-second advertisement or whatnot, I'm talking about the videos you put on your website and things. 40% is pretty average. If you're below that, if you're seeing videos that are having like 30, 20% of people at the end, that's pretty poor performing, and there's things you want to think about. 60% is the goal that we typically set. We say, 60% of people watch to the end, you're hitting that sweet spot. You're never going to have 100%, no matter how much you want it. 80% is a high watermark. We've had content that we see 80% of people watching to the end. We see some of our clients, and that's really top of funnel content. And that's usually where it's very focused, and that's the audience. Either you really hit a home run, or it's really targeted at a certain set of people that's very relevant to all of them. But you can start to learn this, right, as you're collecting this data and understanding. what's working, what's not, and you can also start to look relative to different videos you're producing and stack rank them. You know, which ones are keeping people engaged, which ones are losing them, and you can maybe start to understand styles of videos or things that are working and that aren't. We then go a layer deeper and we track each individual viewer, which in the marketing automation world becomes very, very important. And this is where, in the marketing automation world, you know, a huge part of what we do is trying to understand really one-to-one marketing itself. Who's engaging with what? How can I use that data to better qualify my buyers, create more custom nurture streams, segment my audiences a little bit differently, or you know, qualify people to click to my sales team based on what they're doing, how long they're engaging with different content. So what we actually do, and this is we're seeing more and more businesses do this now, is we actually track each individual viewer across digital properties watching our clients' content. And so, you know, I'll take myself as an example. Right? We use our own product. I'm a marketing guy myself. So we know if somebody's on our website, if they're known to we use Pardot as a marketing automation, if they're known to our Pardot system, then we're able to track which videos they're watching across any of our properties, and all that data goes into their lead record and their contact record inside of Pardot and also inside of Salesforce. And once that data is in there, I can now do interesting things. I can score people to help qualify. I can say if somebody watches my homepage video halfway through, that's fine. If they watch it all the way to the end, it's a little better. I might give them a few extra points to make sure they level up. But if they watch my product demo video, we have about 8 minutes of product video on our site. So I'll know if somebody watched all 8 minutes of that product video. And if they did, they're going to get a big bump and they're going to go right to my sales team. And you guys can try it. Go to our website, fill out a form, watch a bunch of our videos, and you're going to get hounded by our SDR and sales team trying to sell you whatever it is they can sell you because you're actively engaged viewer. Right? It's very different from somebody who comes and enters a form and says they're going to download a white paper, and then it's like, did you read it? Did you read it? No. Right? But with video, it's interesting because you can actually track their level of engagement. So these sort of examples of heat maps, people watching videos all the way to the end, they dropped off, they watched this part multiple times. Each individual, we build up that viewing history, and you can use that data in very interesting ways. So it starts to make your investments in video pay bigger dividends, right? You can get more data from it. You can use it to help your lead qualification, your lead generation, your marketing automation strategy. You can also start to learn which video is working from a business ROI perspective. Because if I know that you watched A, B, and C video, and eventually we close a sale with you, I can look back and go, great, these videos help to contribute to a sale, and I can start to glean which videos are best contributing to sales and pipeline, things like that. But I can only do that if I know what you're watching and track it right through my marketing and sales systems. But this kind of gives you, again, a visual example of, as somebody's watching video content, tracking that in your marketing automation system. One of the things I also like when I think about with this stuff is I know that, for many of you, whether marketer or an agency or whatnot, websites that you're working on, they're not entirely video today, right? Obviously, right? Video probably plays a smaller role in some of these pockets here and there. But if you think about over the next few years as your digital properties grow, right, it's probably a safe bet to think that video is going to play a more prominent role throughout the content journey, right? When somebody's coming to your site, it's likely going to be that nice video welcoming them. Hey, here's what we do. As you go into the product or services pages, explain your videos, again, more interactive content. I think it's a pretty safe bet that we're going to continue to invest more on this as marketers are investing more. But if you think about when that becomes a primary content journey for somebody, right? If they come to your site, they're watching your explainer video, your product demo video, another product demo video, customer testimony. If you can't track that stuff, all the investment you make in marketing automation kind of goes down the tubes. And so being able to track those interactions becomes really, really important. And the marketing automation systems don't do it themselves because they don't host the video content, so it's a tough thing. So just some ideas about how this stuff can be used, and it's interesting once this data gets into your marketing automation as well, because you can do things like segmentation, and you can start to say, I want to create a list of anybody who's watched our product demo X video more than halfway through, and all of those people I'm going to put on this separate nurture stream, because again, I know they're engaged in certain content. Or if you've got certain, again, high value customer testimonials or a webinar, right? Again, we track that stuff, and somebody went to a webinar for 35 minutes. You're like, my goodness, didn't you have anything better to do with your time than watch this webinar? But you did, so obviously there's something there, and there's something you're interested in. So I can put that person into a separate nurture stream and say, you're going to get you're going to get a nurture stream of content about these different things. So this is kind of where things are heading, and that engagement-based data I think is really, really interesting. Video is a way to do that. I actually folks in like Uberflip, who's a good partner of ours, they'll also help you track engagement with other types of content. I mean, this is kind of a video thing, but I'm really excited about this general idea of marketing automation and tracking people's actual engagement in content. Just a different way of thinking instead of like, oh, they clicked on my blog and they did this, and now we're going to try to sell them. It's like, let me know who's actually consuming my content. And then, yeah, that last piece is actually getting that data into your CRM, because that's when you can start to do closing and reporting. You can give your sales team, again, I run a marketing team, 95% of what I think about is my sales team, right? Everything we do is like my building pipeline and helping my sales team sell, because if they sell, everybody's happy and everything's fixed. And our metrics as a marketing group are all driven on pipeline revenue. And so I want to make sure our sales team is getting all the same data. They use it, right? All of our clients do this, where their sales team, when they get a lead flipped to them, they'll know, they can open up Salesforce and they know this person watched all of these videos, what percentage of them did they watch. And it's really interesting because you can glean their actual interests, again, from the percentage view. So if I know they watched 100% of this video, but only 2% of this video, I can immediately start to think about, okay, they're probably interested in this, not interested in this, I'm going to change the conversation I have when I call that prospect. So there's interesting opportunities behind the data that sits with video that obviously gets us really excited. The last piece I'm going to talk about is going back to, so hopefully that gives you a good sense from the data and science side, kind of why we think this is really interesting. I'm just going to deviate back to the art in video. This is actually kind of an art plus science one, so it's a bit of a cheat. And it's a bit of a shameless self-promotion, but it's something that's just, it's just so cool right now, and it's working so well that I wanted to talk about it. And just to give you, again, sort of the art of the possible of where video marketing is going. We're not the only game in town, but we recently launched a solution for personalized video. And the notion here is being able to weave somebody's name or photo or something else unique to them seamlessly into the video content itself as a way to make the story more engaging, more personal, and to attract them further into the content. And these, I'm not sure how well you can see these. These are just like thumbnail images of different videos where we see like, this was a holiday video where, you know, this was the thumbnail image for the video, and when it gets blasted out, everybody who gets it in their inbox, their thumbnail looks different. This is one that Karen would have gotten. And when she clicks on the video and she watches it, there's all these fun scenes where he's making a stocking for her, and it's got Karen's name on it, and the gingerbread house has got her name on it. And it's, you know, it's a fun little novel thing, but it really works, right? We're inherently narcissistic as a society. We love our own names. We love things about ourselves. It's a fact. And it's why things like when we started putting your first name in email blasts, right? It was like, oh, hallelujah, all of a sudden we've doubled conversion rates because we put your first name in the email. Tyler, blah, blah, blah. And I always love getting the emails where it's like curly brackets, first name, screwed up. Those are my faves. But it works, right? And things like this where, you know, you don't want to do this all the time, right? You can creep people out and get overplayed. But when you've got targeted content, important programs, this stuff works, and we're seeing, you know, every customer that we work with, it's like 3 times, 5, 10 times the click-through rates that they're seeing. So already they do an email campaign, and on average it's like 1% click-through rate on a typical email campaign. We're all, as an industry, we're like 1.5% click-through rate, amazing, right? We're like, come on, guys. You include video in an email campaign, you're probably up to like 2-3%. Yeah, all right, great, that boosted my conversion. And then our customers who've been doing this select campaigns, they're seeing like 5 to 10% click-through rate on these campaigns. Again, part of it is the novelty factor. But imagine getting this in your inbox and your name is Nikki Nixon. Like, how can you not do it? How can you not watch that video, right? And we see it pretty consistently where people are leaning into the content. And it's this fun, interesting way to make, again, a more personal and engaging experience. But with my demand gen cap on and the marketing automation cap, the power of this is that boosted conversion rate, right? You get 3, 4, 5 times more people engaging in your message because it's novel, it's interesting, it's personal, it's relevant. As long as the content is good, back to your point, if they click on it and the video actually sucks, and you just slap their name on something for the sake of it, it's not going to work. But if you think through producing something that really works by bringing your name into the story, the conversion rates downstream can really work. So just some ideas of like, this is stuff. I don't know if I've got a minute. I'll just show you this like really super quick of.
How did you pick the name?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows this guy Dan Radu. I don't think we have audio here, but this just shows you like some fun examples of kind of how, you know, names can be brought into the story. This is actually a video about personalized videos, just a little meta. But you know, these ideas of, you know, you can bring like, you know, your email address right into it. but it can be done in fun ways and in integrated ways where it doesn't look like it's out of place, right? Like it's a seamless part of the video experience itself. This is everyone's favorite, the tattoo with Matt Farmer, which I'll show you
Yeah,
later.
I already got it.
Yeah, you got one. Okay, perfect. And so, but we're seeing all sorts of great ways where like things like you're running an event. I'm not sure if any of you guys actually like run a pause that here. I know it's distracting. So we've seen it really successful for like events, right? So we've got a lot of customers who host user groups and customer events, and they're producing fun videos for like to invite people to the event. And it's got like you're invited with your name on it, or some other kind of fun way to bring it in. And again, they're seeing really great engagement with a wow factor with people. So just to get the ball, the ideas rolling of different ways in which we're seeing video become a very interesting medium, more interactive content as well. We're seeing people bake in forms and questionnaires above and beyond just annotations when you're using video platforms for your site, baking in like survey questions through like videos and other interactive elements that again really fuel them with the engine tools. So again, hopefully that piques your interest and gives you some visibility into kind of where this stuff is going and the power of some of the data behind the scenes. Again, it's something that a lot of clients we see, it starts with just starting to get the data, and then it's over time, obviously, the value really grows once you're getting a lot of that long-term data to really understand what's working, what's not, and who's doing what, and using it in your marketing automation system to be actionable. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Hopefully that was interesting or gave you some new tidbits of ideas. Again, happy to go deeper on that stuff and talk about how specifically we work with different clients, but it wasn't meant to be a sales pitch. I just wanted to give you some inspiration for kind of what's happening and why I think video is more than just a great art and a great way to engage people, but it's actually a great way to fuel data on the back end by who's engaging and how. So with that, thank you for hanging in there with me. Any questions, comments? Yes.
Well, yes, I came from like an e-commerce B2C space.
Okay.
Any suggestion for like a best practice for the video in the e-commerce B2C space?
Yeah.
Because you guys are more in B2B.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the best practices around the content itself carry over, obviously, from any industry. I think it's things like it's a lot of things Sophia talked about of great storytelling. It's don't do video for the sake of video. It's part of something else, right? It's part of something else that you're doing. So but what I really encourage people is the problem is sometimes they won't even think about video as we're running this new campaign and it's this great like something or other. We're going to do this post and we're going to do this. We're going to do an email blast, and they may not even think about is there a way to incorporate video as a way to make it more engaging and more storytelling focused. And so I think you just really want to keep a focus as you're building campaigns of like, is there a role for video in what you're doing to help bring the story to life? And often, again, people think, well, it's going to be a big thing, but like even like 30-second, just quick hitting, fun little videos that can pull people in to bring them into the rest of the story. Focus on that storytelling aspect at the top of the funnel. Otherwise things like explainer and product interviews, obviously I don't know your business well enough, but I think things where people are really trying to understand what I'm going to buy, right? So it can't be show and tell. And so if you can use that as a way to both bring value to the user and value back to you as an organization, because you can know track, okay, they watched this but they didn't buy it, but that's going to go higher on my recommended list because I know they actually engaged in 2 or 3 videos of that they didn't buy. Right? So think about ways you can use it as a give to the users, but also as a way that the data is going to be valuable for you. But yeah, I have to know more about the business to know how we're specifically. Yes?
I never actually thought about using video within B2B platform. And thank you for that. Thank you for putting light on that. And because usually when I was sold something as a company, it would be a white paper, it would be some kind of a blog post. But video could be pretty effective in that context. So.
It can often be a great way, I mean, in B2B, it can also be a great way to stand out because not everybody is doing it, right?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
A thing.
Exactly.
So,
like B2C, it's more common, obviously, but when but again, you have to have your audience in mind if they're gonna accept it and if they're up for it.
You do, and the one thing that I encourage you also when you think about this, and it doesn't answer your question, but it's a food for thought, is that when you do think about doing video, it's don't just think about, okay, yeah, like just the point earlier, like a customer testimonial, I write it this way, and my video is going to be a video version of that, right? It's going to be like me interviewing them and say the same things. That's not when you're going to get the really big pop. It's like, if you're going to use video, how can I exploit the power of that medium, right? As an emotional connection medium. And, we create ourselves, like when we do video, half of them are funny, right? And it works with our brand. Our brand is very casual and very personal, and we try to make it easy. So a lot of the content we produce has a little bit of fun, right? But because we're really embracing like the medium to do that. And so we think about it a little bit differently from if we were writing a paper, which we do, we write lots of papers and lots of infographics. But when we do videos, we always think about like how we use the power of the medium. It might be, again, something fun and zany to make somebody laugh. It might be something a little inspirational when we do a lot of thought leadership stuff in the video. Who wants to read a bit of industry influencer and see the content, right? Because they bring emotion to it. So always think about those things and where you can bring some use video to bring new dimensions to the message as opposed to just setting it on camera.
But to your point, that white papers can still be effective.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about the target you're trying to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I very firmly believe, it's a content mix, and those sort of winning, you've got to have those, no question. There was also, I'll anchor off of the one comment made earlier around, there are some pieces of content that have more longevity. And I'll agree with the point that not every video is going to sit around for 3-4 years and still be relevant. But just like other pieces of content, if you hear a lot of thought leaders and content marketing speak, there's a lot of support for the notion of like really pillar kind of content pieces and sort of how it's spoken about. Like we do this, right? So we'll write white papers, and we'll have like 2 anchor pieces a year, right? They're like the big kahunas, right? This is like a big guy. There's a ton of meat in here. We've brought in industry influencers, we have quotes, we've got all this great stuff, and it's like, and we're not going to do that every month, right? But we're going to do a couple of those. But then once we produce it, we're going to go, okay, we're going to produce a video over here that's going to talk about one topic, and then say, want to learn more, download the guide. We're going to do an infographic that basically is download the guide. We're going to write blogs that are download the guide, right? It's all these things that point back to those pieces. The same thing can happen with video, right? Where you've got a really strong kind of core video asset that's the basis of a platform. And then again, the blog can really be driving people into that. And so there are different types of videos you can produce, some that are like churn and burn, right? It's like one campaign, it's done, it's done, I got my results from it. Others that are those more anchor pieces that you can actually spin other pieces around and drive the video as a piece. Again, different ways, and it's different thinking if you're thinking with people as well. You're trying to build more relationships. Yeah.
I get a lot of RFPs, and then yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And they want me to send videos like case studies and stuff like that. And they say no links. I can't link away from the email, the response.
Right.
But at the same time, like if a video is big enough or small enough to go into an email, it's gonna be like 20 seconds, 30 seconds max.
Yeah.
Like, is there any alternative that?
I mean, the bigger issue is that most email clients don't actually play video natively, right? So even if you attach a video, most email clients, that's the problem in the industry is that the email clients don't support video playback inside of emails.
What do you mean aside from Google, Gmail?
No, Gmail doesn't, unless it's specifically a video on YouTube with a specific setup. So it's problematic, and yeah, so a lot of email clients, there's no like 100% or let alone 50%. I guess it depends on the market, right? But a lot of people use it with their email clients, and they just don't support natively playing video back with the email itself, right? So it's often going to be a link out. What I usually recommend is there are ways, again, for our clients, there are ways to at least reduce the friction. So if like the rule is no linking out, I don't know what to say. There are ways to at least then reduce the friction if you are linking out. So you can say, okay, let's make sure we put a nice big thumbnail so somebody knows that we want to video and put a play button on it.
Yeah,
when they click on that and they'll link out, make sure that the page that they land on, if they're coming from that link, that the video is set to autoplay, so that they're not hunting around for it to find it. Because if they click on that thumbnail, they're expecting to watch a video, right? So at least you can reduce that friction, but probably lose some drop off on the sure the video autoplays. If you can't have it play back in the box experience, so it's the center of attention as opposed to one thing you get on the page.
Yeah, what I do is I attach a picture, and I make the picture linkable to our Wistia page.
Yeah.
but you know, that's still laid me out, and I'm trying to find like an alternative.
I don't have a great solution for it. Yeah. So it's the mail time implementations.
Yeah.
It's just no easy way to do it. But yeah, there are ways to at least kind of reduce that friction. Auto play and kind of see what's playing it, and then have the video actually Yes.
In order to use your platform, is that mandatory to keep those kind of who information or the video or onto your platform, or shall we also deploy these kind of tracking code? Can we deploy these kind of tracking code on any means?
Yeah, so I mean, the way our platform works is as like an individual customer, you have your own nice walled-off instance, and so your videos are played back through our player, and any of the tracking data around who's watching is only available to you as a customer, so it's not aggregated from or anything like that. And so, yeah, so that data is sort of, you know, is automatically collected, and it's only for your videos that we publish through our platform, but it does track no matter where the video is distributed, with the exception of if people watch it natively on YouTube. But if the video is watched on a third-party site or something, as long as it's embedding our player, then the tracking data will still come back to you. So does that answer your question?
So you just like need to upload to your platform and embed it to those
Yeah,
channels.
and we give you a standard embed code like you would from YouTube or any other platform, and so whenever the video gets embedded, it will play back through our player, and we cook each individual to track them as unique, and then pair that up with your marketing automation to
So in order to know who, so is it required to put these kind of who information on your platform?
So there's different ways that identity can be tracked. So as a default, we're always tracking each individual, building up a viewing history for their watching your video, even if they're an anonymous viewer, in case at a future time we're identifying what that viewing history is there. To actually identify identity, there's two things. One is if they are known in the marketing automation system. So if you're using Pardot or Marketo or HubSpot or Eloqua, we match up with those, and so if they're known in that system, they're also known to us, and we figure out, okay, this is this person in Pardot, we know who they are as well, and we sync all the data back and forth. Same thing with Salesforce, CRM, so if they're known in CRM, we can link the records, and we'll know. If they're not known to your marketing automation, you're not using marketing automation, then you can add email gates and forms into the videos themselves. So you're not going to know all of your viewers, but those who do opt in, you can have like a pre-roll game at the beginning of the video, you click play, and then it pops up, please enter your email to keep watching. That will then get the identity in our system, and we'll sync that over to your marketing system. You can have forms partly through at the end of the video, which a lot of customers do at the end of the video. What's your call to action, right? And so you can have at the end, pops up a form right inside the video, says, hope you enjoyed, enter your information to do A, B, or C, or to request a demo, or sit down with something related. Just tell us who you are so we can be marketed to you, whatever you want to say. Let's just cut through the crap, we know what's going on here, give us your email address. But in that way, then we'll get that data and we'll also sync it over to your marketing system as well. So there's a few different ways. We won't always know. There's always going to be anonymous viewers, but there are things like that. Yes?
I was wondering, for the bottom of the funnel, what are some of the long form videos you guys are finding successful?
Yeah. So, like thought leadership webinars, like hosted on demand, things that are like 20, 30 minutes in length. It still boggles my mind how many people register for webinars, how many actually get, I don't know who has the time for this stuff. I think about how do you have time? But they work if they're done in a thought leadership way, right? That they're not sales pitches and stuff like that. So, those can certainly work. They're also great tools for sales teams. We use that a lot where our sales teams invite customers or prospects, like, hey, we've got this great webinar coming up featuring Jay Bear, known content marketing leaders talking about 7 ways to unsuck your lead gen, which we're doing next month. And our sales team does a lot of that, so they'll promote it, they'll get late-stage prospects to register, and it's a great way to just engage people more in the story. Right? Certainly customer testimonials, I think, is an obvious one, and having a swath of testimonials by segment, by geography, by customer size, things like that teams can use. There's often competitive differentiation videos that we see a lot of people will do, right? So there's like really kind of more detailed, hacky, like product demo videos and feature demo videos that people will at the late stage and be like, oh, well, can you show me how this really works, right? And instead of like, hey, can I get a solutions engineer and we'll schedule a call, it's like, no, have an on-demand 3-minute video that's showing a walkthrough of here's how this feature works, right? They don't have to be big highfalutin productions. At that point, you can get pretty scrappy with the content. Yeah, competitive videos, so specifically here's how our solution compares to competitor X, right? And that sort of stuff where again, it's like, you're no longer relying on the sales reps to like, okay, what's the story? It's like, no, watch the video, right? An expert recorded it, we showed it, it's done. This is the holy grail, send this to them. And to boot, we can track if they actually watched it or not. So I think those kinds of things we tend to see pretty commonly used at those later stages. Yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on the industry, but in B2B, those are some of the things that we tend to see. Thanks. So,
I want to say a word in defense of webinars. They're really good.
Yeah.
It's like conversion rates.
I know.
Like crazy.
I know. They
Like
work
you
for
have
us.
to schedule it in particular times when
Yeah.
people have, like, take lunch breaks.
Yeah.
But to your point, you do not sell.
Yeah.
You give them value,
Yeah.
and then that value translates into them,
Yeah.
like, getting their interest into asking more questions.
Yeah.
That's how
Absolutely.
they
Yeah.
turn into
And one mistake we see people making is that they think of webinars as like a live-only thing, so they do it it's once it's done, and it's like, okay, so you spent the time to build the content, to do this, record it, post it as an on-demand asset afterwards, right? You can gate it, so it's like if somebody comes and they're like, here's all our pre-recorded ones, you want to promote it separately. You can still gate it and make sure people are tuning information, but yeah, use it as an on-demand asset afterwards, and continue to pay dividends. Those are actually ones that can last a long time to that point. We have webinars that have been around for 2 years and they're still relevant and still used. Not as something we keep sending to people, but our sales team uses it for new prospects. They're like, hey, this is great, we just got to get people engaging. So, okay, well, I'll wrap it there. I know we're running late on time and everybody needs to get out of here. We'll maybe wrap it on that. But any other questions, I'll be floating around here. Feel free to email me, but and Dave can certainly get information, which is fine. So thanks again, everybody, for hanging in there, and happy video marketing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you. Wow, so I learned so much. I have to stop my video game. After this, I got a bunch of ideas, and hopefully you got these ideas as well. We're gonna be networking a little bit. There's some snacks to finish off, so feel free to stick around. A few things I wanted to say. We started also a little job board on the meetup group, so under discussions. I think that Networks is actually looking for a Salesforce and Marketo person. So if you have experience in that, it's not to Rajesh at the back over there. And when more people have contacted me for jobs, I'm happy to share them on the discussion boards with everyone. So keep an eye out for that. The next, we are looking also for success stories, and if you have a cool campaign that you ran and you got great results, we'd love to hear about it. I want one of the next meetups to be around all this great campaigns and examples of companies use marketing technologies to get good results. If you have anything like that, I'd love to hear about it and meet up together. But the next meetup that we're actually organizing is going to be on May 18th. It's going to be around predictive analytics and data mining LinkedIn. So it's going to be very cool. It's going to be very advanced stuff. It's actually, it's so advanced. We're looking at it before it's cool, and it's what we're having in Kensington Market. It's hipster like that. But we're actually one of the companies that will be presenting AlterSpark. Brian Cunningham, the owner of AlterSpark, will be presenting. He presented at TEDx and South by Southwest and all these techniques, so it will be very interesting to check out and join it in Kensington Market in 18th. Other than that, thank you very much, Wilberflip, for always hosting us here. We'll be running more events. Thank you very much for coming. We'll be around to network and talk. Feel free to talk to Sophia and Tyler and myself and anybody else around. Thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.